Hey everybody, it's time for another tarot tutorship video, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to get started working with timing when it comes to reading the cards. And this can be a very complicated process to get started with. It can be very daunting and very confusing, but there are some ways to simplify working with timing and getting to understand the symbols of the cards and the meanings of the cards as it relates to timing your readings better when you are not working with spreads, for instance, that maybe are not designated different points in time, right? Kind of like how with the Celtic cross I taught you, that can look in, 6-week intervals, 6-month intervals, and so on. Well, you can also get more specific with timing when you know what cards are talking about what, especially if you are a little bit learned in astrology, and we're going to be talking a bit about that as well. Now, because reading into times and timing with the cards can be so complicated, I always recommend to my students that you want to modify your deck to work with the most content, but the most simple content at the same time. And so what I have done is to start, for the purposes of this instruction, is I've taken out the pages and the major arcana, and we're just going to be working with the ace through 10, the knights, the queens, and the kings, which is exactly the same thing as we would be working with if we had an ordinary playing card deck. That's where it comes from. The pentacles turn to diamonds, the cups turn to hearts, the wands turn to clubs, the swords turn to spades. But what we can learn from the just basic minor arcana here is where each and every card and each and every set of numbers and each and every suit corresponds to a specific astrological sign, and what we can understand about how things will develop from there. And depending on the question that you're asking, you can then see, all right, is this something that is going to manifest when, say, the sun is in a certain sign, or the moon is in a certain sign, and so on and so forth. This is going to help you to become a better practical reader when it comes to doing fortune telling, and again, getting more specific with your timing for those of you who are, of course, interested in that. I do want to remind people that, remember, whenever you are doing tarot readings, though, of course, free will and volition are a thing. So if you are reading for people and you are giving, timing spreads, or you are predicting things, remind the people that you're reading that they have to do something with their lives. They need to, of course, go out and engage, right? Put themselves out there. They have to do things. This is an example of what could happen if they participated in life, if they engaged the material. Sometimes people don't do that, and it's kind of like, when am I going to get a new job? All right, you haven't applied for anything. When am I going to sell a house? You haven't put it on the market. When are you going to this, and this, but you haven't done anything yet? And I've actually given plenty of readings, where the cards will just call out the clairaudient and be like, there's no point in reading about this because you haven't done the work. Which can also spook people, though, because that could also then show how good you are, because if you're able to do that, then you're obviously seeing into the situation. Anyway, let's get down to business and talk a bit about timing. Now, again, there is a lot to look at here, and this can seem really overwhelming, but we're going to take it step by step. When you get started, like I said, I recommend only working with the ace through 10, the knights, and the queens and the kings, like a standard playing card deck. That's going to get you the most familiar with the material the fastest, and you're still going to give good, succinct readings. The major arcana do offer opportunities to look into timing. However, they do look at big blocks of time, and sometimes that's not always helpful, right? It can be very confusing, or it can kind of feel like you're just looking at a window period. Some things develop during a window period. It doesn't all happen at once, but we'll come back to that another day. So we're just going to, again, work with these minor arcana here. So to start, you do want to be a little bit familiar with astrology. So we're going to do a bit of a rundown of what cards correspond to what signs. And that can also give you an understanding of timing. Because when you're asking questions, and depending on the question, it's important to know, all right, are we talking about a span of time where looking at where the sun is going to be is relevant, right? Say we're looking at 6 months ahead or a year ahead, we're probably looking a little bit more at where the sun's going to be. Or are we looking at a question that is maybe looking into the very near future and we're looking at a matter of weeks? Then it's probably going to be the point where we're looking to see where the moon is going to be. That's going to be up to you and your querent to get the best question possible and to get it as clear as possible. If you are dealing with a situation where a querent is just refusing to ask a specific question, or they are dodging being specific, or they don't know what they want, or they're not working with you to help you help them, you as the reader will then need to take control of the situation and decide what span of time you want to look at. And maybe I'll just have to say, we'll look at the next 6 months, or we'll look at the next 6 weeks, or the next 3 months, or whatever. That's fine. But you got to know, are you looking at months or are you looking at weeks? That's really important. That way you can tell, am I looking at where the sun's going to be, or am I looking at where the moon's going to be? When it comes to looking at timing for further out than a year, you can do that with tarot, but I personally, in my experience, have found once we go beyond a year, things get very muddy unless you're looking at a specific event. And again, that's not really the way people ask a lot of questions these days. So make sure, again, the block of time you're going to be reading when you get started. To start, I have, of course, organized all of my cards to actually fit into the blocks that represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. And then you can see each row also corresponds to the different classifications of different signs, right? The knights representing mutable signs, the queens representing fixed signs, and the kings representing cardinal signs. Depending on what school of tarot you're learning from, sometimes the queens and the kings can get kind of flip-flopped, and certain, practices look at the kings as fixed or the queens as cardinal, and some look at the queens as fixed and the kings as cardinal. In my experience, the queens have always been the fixed signs, right? And classically, we see that, right? The Queen of Cups is always associated with Scorpio. The Queen of Wands, always with Leo. Those are fixed signs. Again, you work with what makes sense in the experience and the data you collect with your practice, but this is the method we're going to be working with. This is the school of thought we're going to be working with. So let's start at the top with our mutable signs, okay? So the sun or the moon in a mutable sign. So knights, mutable. Knight of Wands, Sagittarius. Knight of Cups, Pisces. Knight of Swords, Gemini. Knight of Pentacles, Virgo. And not only the knights, but also the numbers of the pips correspond to different astrological signs. And so we have the 7s, 8s, and 9s of any given suit indicating a mutable sign transit. So 7, 8, 9 of Wands, that's all Sagittarius. So this block talks about the sun or the moon being in Sagittarius. So if we're talking about a time of year, we're talking about the back end of November going in through the first portion of December. Knight of Cups and the 7, 8, and 9 of Cups. Pisces, back end of February and the first good hunk of March. Knight of Swords, 7, 8, and 9 of Swords. Gemini, back end of May and first hunk of June. Knight of Pentacles, Virgo, 7, 8, and 9 of Pentacles, back end of August, first hunk of September. And again, you're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to, well, what is the context when it comes to the question I'm asking? And of course, you also want to keep in context the question itself. If we're looking at 3-4 weeks ahead, we're not maybe looking at the sun, say in Gemini, especially, if we're doing the reading in October, but it might be telling us about the moon going into Gemini. And then you can look that up and you could be like, all right, it's this block of time right here, right? This end of this week, so to speak. Just something to think about as you explore that. Queens, the fixed signs, right? Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus. And their numbers are the 4s, 5s, and 6s of the pips. So 4, 5, 6 of wands and the Queen of Wands, all Leo energy. So we're talking about, if we're looking at, dates of the year, the back end of July, first hunk of August, or the moon in Leo. Queen of Cups, Scorpio, and 4, 5, 6 of Cups, all represent Scorpio. So the back end of October, going into the first hunk of November. Queen of Swords and 4, 5, 6 of Swords, Aquarius, back end of January, first hunk of February. And then, of course, Queen of Pentacles, Taurus, and 4, 5, 6 of Pentacles, back end of April, first hunk of May. Kings then, of course, naturally would be the cardinal signs. So King of Wands, Aries, Ace, 2s, and 3s for the cardinal signs. So Ace, 2, and 3 of Wands and the King of Wands, we're looking at sign of Aries, back end of March, front chunk of April. King of Cups, cardinal sign water, so Cancer. Ace, 2, and 3 of Cups, Cancer. So along with the King, this is talking about the back end of June, first hunk of July. King of Swords is Libra, cardinal air. Ace, 2, and 3 of Swords and the King, back end of September, first hunk of October. King of Pentacles, Capricorn, Ace, 2, and 3 of Pentacles as well. So Ace, 2, of 3 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles all talk about the back end of December and the front hunk of January. We're going to talk about the tens. Where do the tens fit into this discussion? Because tens can be a bit confusing. They don't really have an astrological correspondent in the way that we are working with timing with this teaching. Okay, so looking at the tens can be a good summation card for the term or the period of time that you're reading. Whether you're looking at a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, it doesn't matter. But they can tell you how things are going to develop and, is something going to happen in the span of time that you are observing. So the 10 of Wands can indicate that it's going to take longer than the span of time that you're looking at, but you will begin your process of having this intention come forth into being. So let's say a person was asking, am I going to be able to get a new job within the next 3 months? The 10 of Wands can indicate, yes, you will find your new job. You might even get hired or begin the onboarding process, but you're probably not going to officially start during this 3 months. The 10 of Cups indicates that, yes, you will get what you're looking for, and it will probably happen before the term is up. So in the job question, it would be the 10 of Cups. Absolutely, this is a yes answer. You're going to get your new job. It's going to be great. And you'll probably find it in less than 3 months. The reading might actually conclude before we've gone through the whole reading. 10 of Swords is indicating a no. This is probably not going to happen in this term with the conditions as they are. The 10 of Swords reversed can sometimes be one of those cards that indicates, all right, something about the road you're taking or what you've got going on or the conditions that you're living with or the conditions that you're living in or the status quo as it's been maintained is not allowing this to happen. And you're going to have to end something for a new beginning to occur. So this can be, a pretty, hard no, but at the same time, tell us what it takes to turn a no into a yes. And the 10 of Pentacles is indicating a yes answer. You will find what you seek, and it will likely be exactly around the time the term comes up. So the 10 of Pentacles can kind of be like, look, we're looking at 3 months. It's going to be probably around the back end of that period. And that is basically how you work with the tens. So let's do an example of a timing reading. And of course, as you know, I like to field questions from querents. And I had a question come in: when am I going to get into a safe, satisfying, healthy relationship with an ideal partner? So we're going to be doing that as a reading for my querent here. I'm going to be doing a standard Celtic cross, but I'm going to be doing a reading for the querent, but I'm also going to explain how I would look at the timing as well as I proceed through the spread. Okay, so just give me a second. We're gonna get down to business. Again, we're just working with the ace through 10, the knights, the queens, and the kings. No pages and no majors. Just for this, it's really good for practice when you get started. It's not, something that you want to kind of mix everything up all the time. You'll get overwhelmed with information, and this is still a good chunk of cards, so we can still do a very good reading here. So just give me a minute here. Okay. Now, you didn't specify a term of time, so as I've been instructing people in this video, I took control and I decided we're going to look at the next 6 months. Hope that's okay with you. If it's not, specify a time frame next time, but let's have a look and see. So first, of course, since we're doing a reading for an individual, I'm going to be looking at the bottom of the deck, and we're going to do 1, 2, right? The present and what's crossing the present, helping or hurting, whatever's going on there. Recent history as it affects the present, so something within the last month, how things have been within the last, 3 to 6 months. What's going on within the next month, so the duration of October going into November. This next 3 months, so wrapping up 2023 at the time of me recording this video. You, the querent, the environment around you, future concerns. This is the important card when it comes to timing. Talk about that in a second. And where you're at in 6 months. So this card here, card 9, second to last card, this is going to tell you the timing, most specifically when it comes to what we're looking at here. These cards will also tell us timing, right? They already are 1 month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. But this card here is going to give us the most specific information about, what's going to, where the sun's going to be, what sign the sun's going to be when this is all coming about. Now, this person asks, when am I going to be in a relationship? And so they are single at this point in time. So you got to understand, and this is really good for both readers and for querents, how you ask the question matters. So we might be getting a few stories here all at once. You might not get into a relationship with the person that you're going to meet that you will be in a relationship with right away, right? You shouldn't be psychotically stampeding, to the wedding altar in the first week of knowing somebody anyway, right? That's something seriously amiss psychologically there. But this is going to show us the story of, okay, are you going to be in a relationship? Are you going to, maybe you meet this person in a month and then you are in a relationship in 3 months. That seems sensible. Or you might meet this person in 3 months and you get to a relationship in 6 months. So again, the cards are like a genie in a bottle. They're going to grant the wish or answer the question the way it was asked. So, and I don't like to think for people. So, here we go. Now to start, we're just going to do a standard reading and then we'll come to timing. The foundation of the situation, right? The bottom of the deck, where this person is, what this whole situation stands on. We've got the Six of Cups reversed. And so it looks like presently this person and possibly the potential partner, if one shows up, are both in a process of purging the past, clearing the slate and getting rid of maybe past patterns, past baggage, past attachments to old stories, old romances. It could be that, the querent is turning over a new leaf, or they might be in a situation where they come into a relationship where both they and the significant other in the situation are going to be turning over a new leaf at the same time. So, but again, everyone's wiping the slate clean right now. At present, we've got the Queen of Swords upright, crossed with the Two of Swords reversed. So what the Queen of Swords is telling me is that, all right, so the querent is probably single by choice right now, and is likely, in a space where they are still very guarded about trusting people or getting into a new relationship. And yet at the same time, they do want one, apparently, because, we've got the Two of Swords reversed. They're sort of, they want to be in a relationship, but they don't. They maybe have a specific person or archetype of person or relationship type in mind. It doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. Like the Queen of Swords is upright. So they want a commitment. They know what they want. And they're very clear. And I think that, usually with the Queen of Swords, there's also a very no-nonsense approach, and obviously you're looking for somebody that's going to be more of an intellectual equal, somebody that's going to be more of a creative equal. When it comes to this last month, you've got the Ace of Swords upright. So I'm curious, if this is indicating, okay, you've just recently opened up to the idea, you've maybe only just now decided that you're like, yeah, I think I want to be in a relationship, finally opening the doors to a relationship. I get this weird sense that you're unlocking really right now. You're the one doing the unlocking. It's possible that you've met a person already, or somebody that you already know has maybe become more available, or you're noticing a road opening to that situation within the last month. 3 to 6 months ago, we got the Four of Swords reversed. Okay, so I feel like maybe over the course of that period of time, I don't know if you had any kind of real options. It looks like you might have been playing around, doing some casual stuff, no strings attached, and hey, that's fine too. But obviously with the Four of Swords reversed, it's not sustainable, and, so it's time, you're deciding to go with something a bit more involved. Between now and November, we've got the Two of Pentacles reversed. And so I'm kind of feeling like this could go either way. I think that, with the Two of Pentacles reversed, there may be somebody that shows up that does catch your eye, or somebody from the past, even though we've got the Six of Cups reversed, that, things get more serious with, things get a lot more committed with. We're kind of choosing to maybe exclusively explore something, which is again a part of the Two of Pentacles reversed. Or you may choose to be exclusively single still. This might be something you carry on for another month. We'll talk about it as we go through the rest of the cards, but so that will give us further context into this. I will say, if it is somebody that you know or somebody from your past, with the Six of Cups reversed here, they're going to be also going through this sort of purge of their history, you are going to have to make sure that you are emotionally and spiritually and psychologically mature enough to understand that if you did get together with somebody that you did already know, you're starting something new with them. You're not resuming something old. Within the next 3 months, you've got the Seven of Cups upright as we go into the end of the year. I think that you might end up in a situation where if you are seeing somebody, and I do think that there will be somebody around, you're not sure where to go with them. The Seven of Cups can also indicate many, many options. So you might not really even be clear on what kind of guy or gal, I'm not sure what your orientation is, that you are looking for. Or you might be in a spot where maybe you do meet somebody that you connect with really well, but at that point in time, you're not really sure how to make something work. Logistically, you're having a hard time deciding how to bring something together or bring something about. And that's okay, you know, I mean, again, it would still be relatively early. We don't have to have all the answers right now, but we'll come back to that. Where you're at presently, you've got the Five of Cups upright. So it looks like you're kind of in a spot where you're not sure where to go next. You're kind of coming out of a period of a really harsh transition, just kind of taking some baby steps into a new life. You might still be mourning or grieving a recent loss or disappointment. You might be in a spot right now where you haven't fully let go of your past, and that's okay. But maybe you're not as ready for the action you're asking for. Or you might not be in a place where you could perform the way you think you'd want to perform. It doesn't mean that there isn't a new opportunity coming. Actually, I think there is. I just think that, you know, you're going to be caught off guard by it a little bit, which is probably why we have the Two of Pentacles reversed and the Seven of Cups up right here. It's kind of like, okay, something's going on, but we don't know what to do with it. We don't know where we stand. We don't know where we want to be. And so let's have a look and see if we can learn any more about that. Okay, environmentally, I've got the Six of Pentacles reversed. It could be that you've seen good options that might be a little bit of a distance away, either distance in time or distance in proximity. But the Six of Pentacles reversed is indicating, okay, you're not really happy with, you know, what you've been shown, or it's not really fully satisfying. And so you're, again, maybe that's why you're kind of keeping yourself walled up, you're keeping yourself closed off. It makes perfect sense. Timing, Knight of Wands. So this could indicate when this person shows up, or if it is somebody that you're somewhat familiar with, when the sparks start going. And it looks like the Knight of Wands here, we have, again, the timing being in Sagittarius. So between November 21st and December 20th. And so, of course, then that makes sense with the Two of Pentacles reversed for this next month. You know, you probably won't be doing a whole lot. You know, it won't be that much different this next few weeks than the way things are right now as far as any substantial action is concerned. But in less than 3 months, right? Because 3 months from now is January, but in less than 3 months, we've got real action happening here, the Knight of Wands in Sagittarius. You're either meeting or finally getting down to business with somebody, and that could actually be, you know, what we're just sort of, okay, we're on the road towards that. By the time we get to January, you might find yourself a bit lost or confused. Maybe you've been out of the game for a while. Maybe you're not sure what to do with yourself. You're not sure what to do with the relationship, but it's there. And finally, as we get to 6 months, things look pretty solid. You've got the Knight of Pentacles upright. So, you know, I would say at that point in time, 6 months, you are in a relationship. Something is declared, a status, some kind of commitment is happening there. But it does look like this is going to be a relatively gradual process. It's going to be a gradient experience for you. Presently, you know, if you got on a dating app right now, you're not going to see jack shit. I'm sorry. Doesn't look very good. So if you're choosing to stay single, maybe have some casual fun here and there, no worries. So, you know, you're okay. The Six of Pentacles reversed is just basically saying, look, the door is shut to you and the door is shut to the other in that situation. But we do see with the timing card of the Knight of Wands that you are meeting this person in less than 3 months, or if this is somebody familiar, getting down to business, however that business is within the next, month and a half, right? We go into Sagittarius. It's in the window period sometime between the 21st of November and the 20th of December. So, you live in America, it's going to be sometime between Thanksgiving and the winter solstice that things really start to heat up for you. By the time, though, we get to January, 3 months from now, the Seven of Cups is indicating we might not necessarily know where we're going. We would have only been, in this situation for about a month or so. So I don't think it's necessary for you and the other person to have, everything kind of locked in. But there is some confusion, the world is your oyster, but I am seeing love. And then with the Knight of Pentacles, again, 6 months from now. So, going into about March, April, things are a lot more solid. Again, I'm not looking at the Knight of Pentacles for the Virgo attribute here. I'm looking at the position of the 6 months from now in the spread. So 6 months from now, things are very solid. You and this person are more than friends, but you're also more than just relationship partners. You're actually, you're behaving almost like, a very secure, mature partnership already at that point in time. But again, this little card here, card number 9, the hopes and fears, future concerns, timing card, the one card in the Celtic cross that tends to be the most confusing for all readers. This is where you look to get your timing, to see when everything kind of kicks off. And so for you, it's going to be between Thanksgiving. You can just say between Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is when it gets down to business. Now, you're probably asking, could you tell me more about this person? Could you describe this person? Could you, give me any clues or hints or clarity, as to the nature of this person? Not in the timing spread. Okay, not in the timing spread, but, maybe off camera, we can look a little bit more into that for you. But I don't think it's good to just stack extra questions onto the spread that you have. I have had clients do that before. I've had clients cut me off when I'm only 6 cards in, kind of interjecting and, changing the subject. You as the reader need to make sure that you control the space, not dominate the space, but control the space to give a good succinct reading. Because this is focusing on timing, descriptors and things like that are not going to be so readily available. We were looking at timing with your question, and this is what you've got. So I hope that helps you out. So that's what I've got for you all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you know people who are maybe looking to learn a bit more about timing with the tarot. And I will see you all again soon.